welcome to Math 201 online for fall 2025. I am Caitlin, I'm the instructor for the class. The purpose of this video is to give you a little orientation to our Moodle site and where everything is in it so that you'll know the expectations for the course, what you're supposed to be doing each week as we go on through the course. Okay, so the very top of the site has a few important pieces of information. We have class announcements. I will post in there regularly when there is something that you need to know about the course. Those posts will also automatically be emailed to your student email account. So if you're checking your email, which you should be, you don't have to click into these class announcements, but they're all saved there. So it's a good place. It's like an archive of all the messages I send. And then we have the syllabus and other documents. So let's take a look at that. First, we have the online schedule by week. So this is a document that is an overview, bird's eye view of the entire semester of what we're going to be doing each week. What sections of the textbook we're covering, what lessons to watch, what homework to do, and then other things you need to be doing in that week. So this first week, we have a lot of other things to do. There's a lot of logistical things to do, like reading the syllabus, taking the syllabus quiz, making your final exam appointment, which we'll talk about in a minute. Okay. And then you can see that most weeks look very similar in terms of, we're going to cover a few sections of the textbook. You're going to watch, on average, 3 videos and do some homework. Okay, so let's head back to our Moodle site and look at the syllabus. So we'll go through some highlights here. Here's my email address so that you can contact me anytime you need something. This is an online class with no required meetings, but I am often available via email or on Zoom if you have questions or just want to check in. But do note, despite the fact that this is an online class with no required meetings, that there is a 2-hour final exam that you must take in person at GCC or at another proctored location proposed by the student you and approved by the instructor me. So I'll talk more about that when we get down to final exam. So office hours for the course are by appointment on Zoom. There's a link in Moodle to my Zoom room. The Math Studio is also available many hours each week, both in person and virtually, and there's a full schedule and Zoom link in Moodle. The textbook is Calculus Single Variable or Calculus Single and Multivariable, 7th edition by Hughes Hallett Gleason et al. If you plan to take Math 202 or Math 203, opt for Calculus Single and Multivariable. So this is 201. If you plan to continue the sequence, 202 and 203 use the same textbook, but you should get the multivariable version. Okay, so required also is some kind of graphing technology. I recommend the free software GeoGebra, but a lot of students are familiar with Desmos, and if you like that, you can use that. Or if you have a TI graphing calculator that you used for a previous course, you can use that. Okay, so I'm going to let you read the course description on your own. Let's talk about what to expect in class. So the class is run entirely online. The components of the course will all be accessed via Moodle. So if you've taken an online class before, you may have accessed homework via another site like MyMathLab or WebAssign or something like that. We are not using one of those in this class. There's no online homework system. So everything will be in Moodle. And each week, which will run from Wednesday to Tuesday, which means due dates are always Tuesdays, you'll be responsible for working through approximately 3 lessons, and working through a lesson means doing each of the following. Watch the lesson lecture video and take notes. Work through the assigned lesson activity, and then watch all or part of the video as needed. Read the course text as needed, and complete the homework assignment for the lesson. After you work through the week's lessons, post any questions, insights, points of confusion, or connections you have made in the weekly discussion forum by Tuesday at 4 p.m., which is the last day of each week. There will be a 2-hour final exam that you must take in person at GCC or another proctored location proposed by the student and approved by the instructor. So this is an online course, which means that your time is not structured. You're going to need to structure your time yourself. Be prepared to spend a minimum of 12 hours per week on the course. That's about 4 hours of videos and 8 hours of reading and other assignments. Good time management is essential for success in an online course. Work on your assignments every day rather than leaving everything to the end of the week. Follow the weekly course schedule closely. Seek help as soon as you start to experience trouble. Okay, so let's see what else is important in here. I'm going to let you read the learning outcomes on your own. Resources for extra help. Okay, of course, there is me, the instructor. You can email me anytime. We can set up a Zoom to talk anytime. Other students in the class, get the contact info from a few students, form study groups, work on homework together. It's an excellent resource. Moodle is the home base for our course. So that's where you'll find everything. Okay, nothing lives anywhere else. Everything is in our Moodle site. The Math Studio is staffed nearly all day by GCC math instructors on campus and virtual hours. So the schedule is posted in Moodle. There's a link to the Zoom room for the Math Studio there as well. Peer tutors, you can call the number or visit their website to make an in-person or a virtual appointment. And then there's some GCC tech support if needed. Counseling, disability services, accommodations, read that paragraph on your own, as well as academic honesty, the AI statement. To summarize, representing work either that is someone else's or was generated by artificial intelligence as your own work is considered to be academically dishonest. Okay, so what most people want to know is how your grade will be calculated. So there are several course intro activities in the first week of the semester that you must complete to ensure a successful semester. So they include watching the course intro video, which you were doing, so that gets a check. That's 1% of your grade. And then reading the syllabus and taking the syllabus quiz, that's 2% of your grade. And making an appointment to take the proctored in-person final exam is 2% of your grade. Just making the appointment gets you 2% of your grade. Okay, so then after those first week activities, each week there's a discussion forum, and those are going to be worth 5% of your grade. And classwork/homework, excuse me, is worth 5% of your grade. So the way we calculate, measure your classwork and homework is that there is a checklist posted in Moodle where you can mark off each assigned task that you have completed. So the checklist tasks are always due on Tuesday, but there's no penalty for late classwork or homework. So the checklists, there's no late penalty. Note that completing a lesson activity or homework assignment means that you attempted each problem, checked your answer, and followed up on any problems that you got incorrect until they made sense to you. So this part of your grade is entirely self-reported and is based on the percentage of tasks that you check off in the checklists. But I do reserve the right to ask to see evidence of completion at any time. Okay, so this is your classwork homework grade is based on your checklists in Moodle. After that, we have exams. There are 3 of them, 20% each for 60% total. So, oops, sorry, that should be 3 2-hour at-home exams that you will complete in Moodle. I'll fix that before the class goes live. You are allowed to use some resources, but not allowed to consult with other people in any way, and you can use any resource other than people that does not solve the problem or any part of the problem for you. Okay, so that means that no AI is allowed for exams. Okay, nor is like a computer algebra system. So 3 exams that you take on Moodle at home. And then your final exam is worth 25% of your grade. It is cumulative, covers everything from the semester, takes 2 hours. You must take it in person at GCC or at another proctored location proposed by the student and approved by the instructor. So the final exam is comprehensive, covers material from the entire course. You'll be allowed to use a scientific calculator and 1 page of notes of your own creation. But you do have to take the exam in one sitting, and you sign up for an exam sitting via a link in Moodle. I'll show you in just a minute, okay? Also, if your score on the proctored final exam is less than 50%, then your grade in the course is an F, even if your course average is above the cutoff of 63, okay? So if your score on the proctored final exam is 50% or higher, then your course grade is assigned in the way that we just discussed, with A grades for 90s, B grades for 80s, et cetera, Fs for below 63. Okay, so makeup policy, classwork and homework, which is your weekly Moodle to-do lists, can always be submitted late. Discussion forum posts are not accepted late because they're meant to be a discussion. And once everyone has moved on from that discussion, if you pop in and say something, it's just not really a discussion. So discussion forum posts not accepted late. Makeup exams are generally not given. If you miss a quiz or an exam, you normally receive a 0 on it. However, there are always exceptions to those policies. If you miss something due to extraordinary circumstances like severe illness or hazardous weather or something like that, reach out to me as soon as possible, and we will work on a way for you to make something up. Okay, so that's the most of the syllabus. Let's head back to Moodle, and I'll show you where all the things are that we talked about in this syllabus. Back to our main course page. So class announcements, syllabus and other documents. The next link is the proctored final exam sign-up form. So this course requires a proctored final exam, and the link will take you to a form you can sign up for a time to take the final at GCC or get more information about finding an alternate location. So we'll quickly show you what this looks like. You're going to put in your name and some information, click submit, and you will tell me if you're going to take the exam at GCC or another proctored location. And when you click submit, it'll take you to another page to sign up for dates, etc. Okay, next we have all the blocks for the course. So the very first block is called course resources. And then there's a block for each week of the semester. So far there's only 4 blocks because this is the first time I'm teaching this course online, which means I'm building it as the semester goes. So I have 4 weeks of the semester prepared ahead of time, and I'll show you what each week is going to look like. But in the course resources blocks, we have a link to the course lesson videos. So if you click that, it takes you to a YouTube playlist of all of the lectures for the course. And then we have a folder with homework assignments and solutions. So if we click that, we have the homework assignments down at the bottom, and then the solutions manual for chapters 1 through 5. So the solutions is not just the answers, it's like a worked out solution. So you can look up, if you did you can look up the answer, and if you're stuck, you can look up the full solution. Okay, so back to course resources, Math Studio. So we have a link to the Zoom room for the Math Studio and a schedule of who's staffing the Math Studio when and where. Then we have my office hours. This is a link to my Zoom room. I'm not in there like on a regular basis. If you want to meet me on Zoom, send me an email to schedule an appointment. And then there's a link to the peer tutoring website. You can call them or click this link to make an appointment for peer tutoring. Okay, so now we'll look at the what each week of the semester looks like. So each week starts with a checklist. Checklist for week 1. If you click on that, you can see all the things I'm asking you to do in the week. Watch the course intro video. Once you're done with that, you can check that off like that. Okay. Read all the documents in the syllabus and other documents folder. Fill out the form for the proctored final exam, etc. So you're just going to work through all the items in this checklist. These little blue things are if there's a link associated with the item. So this takes you to a link to the proctored final exam form that we just looked at. Okay, so let's go back. And after the checklist, There's a bunch of stuff. These are the items you need to complete the checklist. Okay, so here's our course intro video link. And then the syllabus quiz, that's a thing that you're supposed to complete in the checklist. It's right here, syllabus quiz. And then after that, some of the items in your checklist are to work through lessons. Okay, so we have a lesson template and then a video. So the template you can use to take notes. You can print it. So I'll just show you what it looks like. So these are my slides for my lesson presentations, basically blank versions of the slides. So as I teach this lesson, as you watch the video, you'll see all of these things getting filled in, right? So I'll write a bunch of stuff here in the video. And so you can use this to take notes while you watch the video, but you don't have to. You can also just take notes in a notebook. So if you click on the video link, it takes you right to video. And then there's a template and a video for each lesson of the week. So we've got 1-1 and 1-2, 1-7, 1-8, and 1-9. And then once you've worked through all three of those lessons, post in the discussion forum. And then there's also the homework, which is listed in the checklist. So you can see complete the homework, 1.7, some problems, right? So the homework is listed in the checklist, and it is also up in the course resources under the homework assignments and solutions. Okay, so that's week 1. Week 2 is going to look very similar. Checklist, and then everything you need to complete the checklist is right underneath it. Week 3, same thing, a checklist with everything you need to complete it underneath. And then week 4 is the exam week. It has the same structure in terms of there's a checklist, everything you need to complete that checklist is underneath. But instead of working through lessons in this week, you are going to preparing for and taking an exam. All right, so that pretty much covers our overview of the course, what to expect, what it's going to look like, what you're going to be doing each week. I just want to show you, if you want to check your grades, they are in this tab over here. And you can see each item, your grade will populate in these little blanks as you complete them. Okay, so that's it. I hope we have a wonderful semester together. Please reach out if you have any questions or need anything at all. Thank you.